Does anyone also feel helpless that the career, the path that they have chosen is not entirely the journey they want to be on?
I don't want to work a customer service job. I don't want to work a retail job.
Quit your job.
When you know you're meant for more, you really have to lean into it and follow.
At some point in our careers, we're going to run into a shitty job.
Did you know it takes people an average of 3 years to leave a dead-end job? That's insane.
I will get that promotion finally. I will finally get to have the pay raise I've been desperately asking for the past 3 years. Really.
Just thinking about all the people that are my age who are farther along in life than I am.
Jobs in traffic, doing traffic enforcement is really a dead end.
Your career dissatisfaction and confusion is only a symptom. It's a symptom of a deeper disconnect from your true self.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Pintabi Singh, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you interesting TikTok videos that I am scavenging throughout the day and finding on various topics that you will enjoy with me, and I will give you my little hot take either throughout the video or towards the end. So sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Does anyone also feel helpless that the career, the path that they have chosen is not entirely the journey they want to be on? But now you're at a point in your life where you have to pay the bills, you have to make a living, so you keep doing it, but you know it's making you miserable. There has to be a career, there has to be a job out there that I love, that I look forward to, that brings me joy. The reality is you do spend the majority of your life working, so you do have to find a job that you actually like. I'm turning 30 this year, and I sit here and I still struggle and think to myself, what is that job going to be for me? Because I've yet to find it. I've yet to find my passion project, and I fear that I never will. It genuinely upsets me when I think about it, because I know I did this to myself. So desperately want to make a change, and every time I do that, I discover that I also don't like what I decided to do next. And it feels like I'm never gonna get off this hamster wheel. I wake up every day and I'm like, this can't be my life. I don't want to do this forever. There has to be more to life than this. I don't know if you'll ever truly love what you're gonna do. If there's anyone that loves their job, can you tell me what it is and why you love it so much and how you came to that conclusion? Because I'm still struggling to find out what mine is.
There is a thought that I have been waiting to voice my opinion on for a long time. I don't want to work a customer service job. I don't want to work a retail job. Matter of fact, I don't want to work fast food. I don't want to work a warehouse job. And I don't want to work in an office. I want better for myself, okay? And listen, you could say what you want, but I'd rather be a tradesman breaking my body just so I can earn money to feed myself and the people I live with. I'd rather do that because that's actually fulfilling work, because you can actually see what you're working towards. In a retail setting, it is the definition of a dead-end job with absolutely zero progression, absolutely zero sense of satisfaction in it. You're just doing a job that has to be done for the lowest possible price they can pay you and reasonably get away with it. I mean, really think I actually want better for my future. I don't think it's crazy to say that. I don't think all of these companies that are refusing to hire people really understand. Nobody wants that job. Nobody cares about retail jobs or fast food jobs. It's just a job for people who are in between certain important parts of their life, or for people who are trying to accomplish a bigger goal. I feel like these companies that are hiring and are making it so difficult to actually work that job, I feel like that's not the message they're getting. Maybe we shouldn't put out that, oh yeah, we're hiring, when we're actually not. Because this is just making people more frustrated with the job market instead of actually getting us employees. How about people realize that the shitty jobs that nobody really wants to work, that doesn't pay shit, people actually want better. Most of the time, that's not the job that people want. Actually, 95% of the time, nobody's out here thinking, I want to be a fast food employee. I want to serve smiles. Nobody gives a damn about serving smiles. They're trying to get their bread up. They're trying to live a nice life. And they're trying to work a job that actually gives them meaning and a sense of purpose in this world, besides just flipping burgers or cashing people out at a fucking retail store. I do want better for myself. I'm not going to work these lame jobs that, oh, you should get a job. I'm not going to work this lame job. I'd rather be jobless and struggling but happy than actually be hurting my health, my life, and ruining my mental just so I can make a couple dollars so I can pay for all this cool stuff. I'd rather be broke and look broke but be happy than be happy, be like tired and annoyed and actually out of my mind with money. Because yeah, sure, you can make the argument, oh yeah, that money's gonna help me live a better life in the future. But I can also earn money. I can also, I feel like people fail to realize I can also get a job that gives me meaning without having to bust my ass at some terrible 9 to 5 that has me working until 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Literally working the grave shift.
It's 11:37 on a Friday night, and I'm here laying in bed, trying to go to sleep, and just thinking about all the people that are my age who are farther along in life than I am. My best friend is engaged and she's getting married this year, and I just broke up with my live-in boyfriend, and I have to live with him until our lease is up in like 6 months. One of my closest friends is pursuing the same artistic career as I am, and they started after me and are less technically trained than I am, but they're getting more gigs and meeting more people and getting more followers. And the only 2 events that I was booked for got canceled. And social media, of course, loves to show you things that you don't have or can't have or whatever. And it's just really easy to think about all the things that other people so close to you in your life are getting that you don't have or aren't getting. And I just wanted to hop on here and say that if you feel like the people in your life around you are farther than you or surpassing you or better than you, whatever, like, just know it's okay, and you don't have to have everything figured out, and life is not a competition. And if these people are accomplishing things that you also want, it's just a reminder that you can have it too, and you're that much closer to getting it. And yeah, I feel pretty freaking jealous. But I can't let that jealousy lead me to like a lack mindset, because in the end I'm the only one losing from those thoughts. So if you're like me and going through a hard time and seeing everyone else doing better than you, it's okay. Just try and get some sleep, and you can always start again tomorrow. And just because you're not far enough along or where you think you should be, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. If anything, it just means that it's not your time yet, and it's coming. So, hope you have a good Friday night and get some sleep, and I love you.
Young police officers are often taught that jobs in traffic, doing traffic enforcement, is really a dead end. They're sort of encultured that. It's one of those things that other officers are often mentioning and tell them that during cop school. And in a sense, all police jobs are a dead end. And in fact, you could say that about any industry. There's only going to be one chief, right? So if you've got 30 people in your class, 25, 30 years from now, only one of them can be the chief. There's only going to be a handful who go into complicated investigations and things like that. Most police officers are going to be doing general duty policing. And so in that sense, it's always a dead end. And it doesn't really matter what you go into. You know, there's only a few people who make it to the top of any organization or any industry. But when you think about traffic enforcement, think about the importance of it, okay? Because as a traffic police officer, you are the most visible police officer out there, and we know that police officers being seen discourages crime and encourages people to be confident about their society and their safety. So number one, you're doing a really important public service. Number two, one of the biggest killers on the road is cars and driving, and people tend to drive terribly, and they have to be regulated. It's painful. I don't like the idea of people getting traffic tickets, but this is something that is a necessity. And the more visible you are out there doing traffic enforcement, the more lives you're going to save. So think about your job as a police officer to serve and protect. You're protecting the public by doing traffic enforcement. As well, the thing about it that's really nice is you've got some autonomy. You're out of the office. You're not, having somebody who's a supervisor hovering over you. You're out doing your job. You're doing it using your discretion, and you're doing it in a manner that lets you get outside. So a lot of people are trapped at desks all day. If you're doing traffic enforcement, you get to get outside. Now, yes, you can spend a long time in your vehicle, but you don't have to, right? You can set up a speed trap and you get to talk to people. And of course, people are not very happy to see you necessarily. That's okay too. That's just part of the job. But the point is that you have some autonomy. You get to be out of the office. You get to be outside. You get to interact with people, and you get to do something very important. Traffic enforcement is not a dead end. Traffic enforcement is a very important job in policing, and that's why you see some of the older or senior officers who have done everything will take that option, that choice to be in traffic in the last 10 years of their career, because they like it. And also, they get to go to court, interact with lawyers, interact with people, be part of the court system, and testify. So I would tell you, if you're a young officer and you're thinking about what you're going to do in the course of your career, traffic enforcement is very useful, and it's something that we shouldn't talk down. We should be focusing on the importance of it in our communities, because it is one of those things that keeps the community safe.
A year ago, I was in a dead-end job I hated, and this week my boss is taking me to Hong Kong. Let me explain. I'm currently a social media executive for a cosmetics company, but when I originally applied for the job, I was in a basic office job, like pensions, investments. I hated it. It was dull, it was unfulfilling, and that was my entire life all week, doing something that I just didn't enjoy. And when I say the job that I have now, I was made for, I made it. Got to the point where I was so unhappy in my old job that I was like, I just need to apply for loads of jobs, but I had zero experience. I was like, I know I'll be incredible at this job. I've got ideas coming out of my fucking ears. So the jobs that I applied for was at Ego Official as their social media exec, and it's such a full circle because I was gutted that they were like, no, you've got no experience. So I was like, babes, I can't get experience if you don't give me experience, but I understand that it's taking a risk on somebody, because what's to say that I'd be good at it. However, my boss now did take a risk. I did come so prepared, like presentation after presentation. I made a frigging TikTok. Obviously I got the job, and it's just flourished for the last 12 months. It's been like the most incredible 12 months of my life. I would never have ever believed, if you would have 12 months ago told me that I'd be here today. Last week my boss booked for me and her to go on a work business trip to Hong Kong. That hasn't fully sunk in yet, and you just have to put yourself out there. I feel like when you know you're meant for more, you really have to lean into it and follow it, because I knew for a fact that I was meant for more. And not only that, I love fashion, and I work with fashion brands, outside of my job, and I do collabs with some of the brands that I could never even dreamed of working with. This is your sign to put yourself out there, get out your comfort zone, get out of that dead-end job that you literally hate.
Did you know it takes people an average of 3 years to leave a dead-end job? That's insane. Don't be one of those people. That's 3 years of missed growth opportunity, years of missed climbing the ladder in the right job for you, 3 years of stalled earning potential. If a job has any one of these 3 criteria, you gotta get out ASAP. If you don't want your boss's job, their boss's job, or any other job at the company, it's time to go. That means that there's always going to be a limit or a ceiling on your growth potential and your ability to learn. If it's been a year and you genuinely don't like who you're working for, who you're working with, or what you're working on behalf of, it's not gonna get any better. If there are signs of toxic culture, so if there is back channeling, gossip, a lack of trust, blame culture, if there is high employee turnover, poor communication, it's time to go, because you can't fix that. All it's gonna do is erode your self-esteem, and it's gonna dig you into a hole that's harder for you to climb out. Unfortunately, we would rather be certain than happy, but it's important to sacrifice short-term comfort for longer-term gain. And this is what you're doing when you choose to bravely leave a place that is just not the right fit for you.
It may not be for everyone, but those who are meant to see it will get it. Your career dissatisfaction and confusion is only a symptom. It's a symptom of a deeper disconnect from your true self. Somewhere along the way, you have made choices based on other people's expectations of you, whether consciously or unconsciously. And that has led you down a career or life path that wasn't really meant for you, which is why you feel so unfulfilled. But you also feel stuck because you're not sure what to do about it, because you don't really know who you are, or you don't trust yourself to act on your intuition, to act on that creative impulse to explore a different path, because you don't trust yourself that you can handle the uncertainty. of exposing yourself to potential judgment and failure. So you're stuck in your head, you're trying to figure out the perfect plan, the perfect path, the perfect answer. Only of course to go in circles because it's an illusion. You'll never have that 100% clarity. Clarity is what follows from taking action. You find yourself through creating yourself. But in order to walk that path, you have to have some idea of who you are in terms of your values, your gifts, what energizes you, what impact do you want to make. Then you need to give yourself the space to explore that. If you feel like this is where you're getting stuck, this is exactly where I support my clients. So if that's interesting to you, you can go to the top of my page and book a call.
Okay, I'm going to say something controversial here. Quit your job. If you can't quit your job right now for financial reasons, do some research and figure out a way to get out of your current career situation. You think life is just going to happen for you? Your dream career is on the other side of this discomfort that you're avoiding. And until you face that discomfort, you're going to be miserable. When I die, I want to know I did everything possible to live into my purpose. Are you living into yours?
All right, I got to say this. Some of you guys have to stop feeling sorry for yourselves. Listen, at some point in our careers, we're going to run into a shitty job. At least that's the case for most of us. But if you've been stuck at a dead-end job for a lot of years, okay, that's cool. Now it's time to pivot. Regardless of how many years you've worked at a dead-end job, you have transferable skills that can go to a better quality job. You need to get your resume done, set up a good LinkedIn profile if you haven't already, figure out which industry you want to go into, and start targeting the companies you want to work for. These are the very basic steps to get started with this. And if you're still like, woe is me, I don't know how to get started with my resume, reach out to me. I offer free consults to help you get started. But if you don't take action on that, there's no helping you. Maybe it's your fault. You have to make the change. I'm here to help you get unstuck. Let's do it. Follow me for more high-value career tips and book a free strategy call so we can get you paid.
Okay, guys, we keep it positive on this page, but we also keep it real. And part of keeping it real is knowing that sometimes you are not going to love your job. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel miserable. I love you guys. I want to see you happy in your careers, and I have a couple tips for you. Let's dive in. Tip number one, you're going to own your stuckness. You're going to stop telling yourself, I don't have a right to feel this way. I shouldn't feel so stuck. You're going to stop ruminating over it. You're going to own the fact that you feel stuck and this role is not right for you. That is the first step. It's how you come back to yourself, and it's how you recognize that you need to make a change. Tip number two is you are going to take inventory of the things you've done in your career that you've enjoyed. Write about the projects you enjoyed working on. Write about the people and the managers you liked working for, and then analyze all of it and look at the trends. Do you enjoy being in front of customers more? Do you enjoy, crunching numbers and being, in the spreadsheets all day? Knowing that is going to really help you identify where you want to go next. Okay, and then number three is you're going to diversify your sources of purpose and joy. Maybe you start posting on YouTube about your pottery business. Maybe you meet up with friends for dinner every single week. You find ways to have a life that extends beyond the job that is currently making you miserable. And the next one is actually a term that my mom came up with. Shout out to Mary Kahn for coming up with this. Okay, guys, you're gonna avoid the courtside hecklers. Who are the courtside hecklers? I'm gonna tell you. Okay, the courtside hecklers are the people where when you are going through something tough, or you want to maybe change your job, for instance, or you're just like going through a time where something not great is happening to you, they like rile you up, they make it worse. They're like on the side of the court, basically like shouting at you while you're, in the middle of the ring, if you will, and they don't actually help you find solutions. Limit your time with these people, I promise you. Also, guys, let me know if you have ever encountered courtside hecklers. I'm very curious to know about the prevalence of the courtside heckler archetype. The last three tips are focused on actually getting out of the job. Take 2 to 5 networking or job search actions per week and track them. I listed out a couple ideas for you. You'll notice not every idea or suggestion that I had is about applying to jobs. It's also about networking emails, 5 coffee chats per week, 2 networking events. I try to do 3, 5 is too many for me. Maybe you can do 5, maybe you can do 2. Anything is better than nothing. The last 2 are find accountability friends. Tell them I'm going to work on my resume. I'm not allowed to text you until I finish it, and plan a celebration when you get a new job.
Do you know what? I've spoken to over 1,200 people about their careers, and the most common age that people have a career crisis is 27. So exactly the age that you are now. So I say that not to make you feel better or worse. I just say it because it is something that a lot of people experience at this age. I think it's the staring down the barrel of 30, you start to sort of realize the differences between you and your friends. You know, you start to realize like, oh, this friend's doing really well in their career and they seem to be ahead of me, or this friend seems to be doing worse than me. You know, like 27, I think, is the first age where you see the differences between you and your peers. Some of your peers have had a really steep learning curve and they're in better jobs. They might be paying more. It's also, depending on what country you're in, it's also the age that a lot of your friends start to get married, and buy houses and do all these like quite adult things. So I think it's really common what you're experiencing. Now, I know it's really common because I've had so many people come and talk to me about their careers. And then when I say to them, any chance you're around 27, 28, they always are. So it is a really common time to have a career crisis. I think it's really normal. Don't worry in that sense. I think what you're feeling is normal, but it's definitely something we want to work through and sort of find a solution for. And if it makes you feel any better, you are absolutely not behind. There is nothing wrong with having a bit of a crisis or a bit of a moment where you're like, oh, where am I going? As long as we get through it and figure it out.
So I feel like I'm in a dead-end job. And this topic just quickly becomes so toxic. Like in my head, I start thinking all of these crazy things, and I'm just like, I think no matter what job one has, you're almost always going to feel like you're in a dead-end job. You might like the job, sure. You might like your colleagues, your management, maybe even the salary, but at some point you feel like you're just stuck, you know? It's far worse if it's a low paying, like minimum wage job. Then that's really depressing. And I feel like we've all somewhat gone through that. There is a blessing though to it if you think about it. I mean, I'm looking at my own experiences. Every time I felt stuck like that, it's almost pushed me to do something completely different from like working for somebody else. I've always started a business. I've always like tried other things because I realized that, oh no, I cannot rely on this job. Like, yes, I like it, or maybe I hate it. I just need a way out. What I absolutely hate the most is when you get into a company and you make it very clear to them when you start that progression and growth is incredibly important to me, especially like having a development plan and actually working towards being developed, ensuring that when I leave here, because I absolutely will, obviously, that I'm in a great position to actually be in, you know, management or whatever, or earn like more money. And they kind of go, yeah, of course, like our company is invested, they invest in you, they care, they're like, oh my God, please. Like the moment you start working and 6 months down the line, you realize we're just lying. Sometimes it's not even like job dependent. It's not that, oh, it's only specific types of jobs are the ones that will let you know if you have a dead-end job. No, it sometimes has a lot to do with the company. You could have like a fast-growing type of a job that should technically allow you to grow really fast, but the company that you're at literally is like stifling everyone's growth, or specifically yours, for whatever reason, right? Sometimes everyone else will be doing really well, but your manager has something against you. Someone else will get all the great projects, you know, all the great little skills development programs or funds to go to school and further their studies, but you are never really getting all of that. And you wonder, like, why is that the case? And yet everyone else around you is growing. Like, those are the signs you need to leave. Like, I don't even care what happens. Rather just pack and go, because I feel like when people do that, they practically hate you for whatever reason. How can everyone around me grow and you're pushing everyone to grow, but you don't want me to grow? That's really weird. That's a sign of a very toxic environment that you should not tolerate. Also, I find it quite interesting how some dead-end jobs will literally like string you along. They'll like give you all these weird promises. Like every now and then they'll hook you in. They'll hook you really in, tell you. I feel like every quarter, I kid you not, every flipping quarter I see this happening. They like promise you all these amazing things, we're going to increase your salary, one day this could happen, a future faking, you know, telling you all these amazing things about what could be, what could happen, the role you might have. And they literally do this for like a good, like, yeah, or more. I mean, depending on how long you're there, right? And nothing changes, nothing happens. It's just like promises. Like, how toxic is that? Like, that is so freaking toxic. Like, if you would never tolerate that in a relationship, why on earth would you tolerate it at your job? Because just might as well not tell me. Like, if you're not going to do it, don't tell me. Don't tease. Don't, just keep quiet. Please keep quiet. Like, because a lot of people will, I mean, we're all getting approached with different opportunities. There are people who get approached, headhunters or whatever organization has been interested in you via LinkedIn or whatnot. There are people who are not going to take other opportunities. There are people who are getting approached, right? And they won't take these jobs. They won't interview. They won't even entertain like any other job, simply because their own company, their bosses, their managers gave them a little tiny hint of hope that maybe, just maybe, I will actually be recognized. I will get that promotion finally. I will finally get to have the pay raise I've been desperately asking for the past 3 years. Really? So you think something is going to change? It's so heartbreaking. Like, it is so incredibly, like, it's demoralizing. It just feels, it's even harder when you are looking for a job and no one is approaching you, no one is actually returning emails, booking an interview with you, and you're just stuck with this employer that you really realize does not deserve you. And I know that sounds crazy, like a job is a job. Looking at it that way is just being overly sensitive, and perhaps true, but at the end of the day, this is your life. Like, don't waste it because someone made a promise and they're not going to live up to it. This is a contract you got into. Both parties, you and your employer, need to benefit from this contract. So if you're not benefiting, what's the point? I don't get it. What's the point? You can walk away.